But I think it's really exciting at the prospect that there are teams around these two that are leveling up. And two of those names that are clearly in the conversation are Mad Lions and Rogue. Now, the biggest thing that has been brought up over the last 3 weeks of the LEC is Rogue's strength of schedule. We're going to bring it up again in the game. And it's something that always has to be reminded, because the reason why Rogue's scoreline looks like this is they've beaten teams at the bottom of the table. Their only loss is to G2 Esports, which is the same as the Mad Lions. And now the real test comes, because they're going up against Fnatic, and their direct competitors in Mad Lions has already taken down Fnatic.
Yep.
So let's see if Rogue can do it today. Can they prove that they deserve to be in that conversation alongside Mad Lions?
That is the question that is on everyone's lips right now, and
this music is very dramatic, and it's made what I just said.
I'm loving it.
So much more empowering.
I'm loving it. We'll go through the bans for you. Fnatic have picked the blue side here. Yuumi, Trundle, and Orianna are their bans. Varus and Syndra removed by Rogue. The question is, do we see something like a Graves ban, an Aphelios ban, an Ezreal ban, or is this going to be more targeted towards someone on Fnatic?
I wonder if Thresh is considered to be taken off the board. They may actually ban Graves because the Orianna is banned. Yeah. I actually think that's what I'm expecting right now for Rogue.
And of course, Selfmade played it well the last couple of weeks, but instead they say, okay, we don't want Hylissang back on the hooker. We're going to take away Blitzcrank from him and give Fnatic their choice of any of the AD carries that are still available.
I feel like Aphelios has to be the first pick, right?
I agree with you, but I watched them play Soraka last week.
That's true.
Aphelios will be locked in here for Fnatic.
All right, so now the question comes, is it going to be another Aphelios Azir comp that we so commonly see? Rogue are going to respond by locking in a bot lane of their own. Kalista, a staple for Hans Sama. Back in the day, he used to be known for both his Draven and his Kalista. When he first joined the league.
Yep.
Definitely very powerful, and he's going to get the Thresh alongside him as well. So definitely a power bot lane. Vander had that phenomenal Thresh performance, I think, last week, where he was landing pretty much every single hook. I like the Soraka hover from Selfmade. I don't expect to see it in this game, but you never know. Fnatic are experimenting a little bit.
I mean, that would be a bit of experimentation too far, in my opinion, especially when you have an AD carry. There is going to be Tahm Kench to give that Aphelios some safety. Makes a huge amount of sense into the Kalista Thresh lane, who can pick you out pretty easily. And we'll see where Nemesis decides to go in mid. TF is still available for him if he wants it. It has been one of his comfort picks so far.
I think Azir would be the safest blind right now. I'm sure Larssen would be more than happy to pick Corki as an answer, but junglers are also up and available. Nothing's been locked in yet, and Volibear is going to be the blind pick. We've seen quite a lot of Volibear. I think he's had 100% presence today in the games that he's not been banned, which was one of them. I think he's been picked in every other one. So
I believe so too.
Yeah, and Volibear clearly rising in popularity. Not so much like we have to get him on our team, but hey, if he's open, he's a strong early game jungler. He can impact the map pretty well. He becomes a big meat shield later on into the game. And so teams definitely seem to be a fan. Now the question is, how will Rogue respond? Will they lock in their mid laner blind now, or will they look to answer with a jungler? And we're going to get to see another comfort pick on the side of Rogue in Olaf. For those that don't know, when Inspired first joined the league, his Olaf was permabanned. Whenever he got it, Rogue won. It was one of, by far, his best champions, and for a while, it was pretty much the only champion that Rogue found success on when in the hands of Inspired. So it's been left up a lot more recently. Of course, Olaf has fallen out of favor since then, but still a very strong and powerful pick in the hands of Inspired.
Let's see how effective he can be on it in this game. Second set of bans are coming out. Looks like Rogue are thinking, well, that Volibear's probably going to go into the jungle because they removed the Wukong themselves. Azir taken away by Fnatic, as you said earlier, one of Larssen's stronger picks, although he has yet to play it this split. And Rogue actually going to get rid of Ziggs as well. So a strong wave clearing mid laner taken away. I've heard rumblings of playing Ziggs in the mid lane just to give yourself some safety. You can stand quite far back and just push out the way.
In I saw one region playing it. It may have been LCK, I forget. But I've definitely seen it.
I think I've seen it LCK.
Yeah, it was LCK, I think. But I've definitely seen it being played, for sure. I think he just fits into that idea of wave clear safe mid laners, really strong siege. And he just kind of fits into that package. The Soraka hovers continue to come through. Okay, guys, I think the joke is dead now, if I'm being honest. But hey, pro players, clearly this is funny.
Here's the thing. I was one of the key components of why Legacy Dynasty Kings became a thing.
Yeah.
So me understanding when something is dead is probably not the best. I gotta let them have their fun. Hover Soraka Rekkles, come on, do it. Do the Janna for the extra super cool callback.
So the Gangplank is locked in for Rogue. This is, again, another comfort pick for Finn. We say a lot of comfort picks is just champions that they would often frequent.
Yeah.
And I think the Gangplank is a debatable when it comes to safe blind pick. I think that there are good counters to him. And right now I'm a little concerned with the amount of engage that Rogue do have. What this does suggest to me is that Rogue do have strong bot side focused champions. With the Gangplank ultimate, with really strong setup with the Kalista, and Olaf as well, you have very, very powerful dive tools to be able to try and shut down Fnatic in the bot side of the map.
You really do. And I was actually thinking, just debating with myself here, could you find a way to flex this Ornn? The issue for Fnatic is they don't have a huge amount of magic damage, so they will need some magic damage coming out from their final pick. And Karma is a little bit flexible. She can go up towards the top lane, but we expect her to be mid lane for Nemesis.
So basically, Fnatic is saying, okay, Selfmade, you had your time to shine last week. Now it's literally all about Rekkles.
Yep.
You are our only damage. We will give you literally everything. He has a front line to play around. He has an amp in Karma. He has Peel in Tahm Kench. Rekkles could not ask for more of a comp that is literally built for him. So this is the Rekkles show. I know that many fans, whenever Rekkles is not on a carry, is like, why did they not put him on a carry? All right, Fnatic fans, you're getting what you want. This is literally all about Rekkles. It's about your man in the bot lane. So we'll see how he performs, as Fnatic are looking to get themselves another win. Rogue rounding out with a Ryze. This is like, I forget what season this is, but like this is like 2017
season
kind
7,
of comp,
yeah.
right? You've got strong pushing power in the mid lane, you got roam potential, you got split pushing tools, you got a couple globals. Like, it's a very powerful early to mid game comp coming out from Rogue. I feel like that it's definitely going to struggle in late game team fights against Rekkles. And again, something we've been bringing up a lot today is short range comps. Ryze usually struggles against in later fights because his range is not the longest. Also, he works in skill shot lines, which means that against tanks, he's not the best at getting past them. So we'll have to see. I think a lot of the early game focus is going to come down to Rogue. How well can they match up against Fnatic? And Fnatic, it's about your boy Rekkles. So we're about to jump into game for our final game of the day.
Final game of the day, Velios, and I am excited. I will bring up some stats for you very quickly.
Hit me with the stats.
Had a quick Google. Do you know what Karma's win rate is in the LEC? I see you looking over my computer screen.
I mean, I don't know.
Any guess? Any guess? She's been played 5 times.
I'm going to say, wait, win or loss rate?
What? Yeah. What's her win rate? What's her win?
20%.
Correct. She's won 1 out of 5 games here in the LEC. She hasn't been played mid at all this split. She's been played bot lane 4 times and top lane once. She has not had the greatest success. So we'll see if Fnatic can use this Karma in the mid lane to facilitate Aphelios as the game goes on.
Personally, I really dislike Karma as a champion.
Same.
I think she's really not fun at all.
Yep.
And I don't understand how people enjoy playing her.
So,
I fully understand in the context of pro why she makes sense and how she fits into comps. And I think that from a pro player perspective, she's fine. Don't have a problem. Just in my solo queue games,
yep.
I do not understand how anyone can enjoy playing Karma.
The only time I've enjoyed playing Karma is in Earth, because you go tank and you just RW everyone and you heal up for days and they can never kill you.
Like, how can you make Karma even less fun by playing... I don't know. Anyway, personal rant over. Moving on. You will notice the Nemesis is running the Aerie. I'm a big fan of Aerie on Karma because of how well it synergizes with pretty much everything that she does. Good for poke, synergizes with the shield, and interestingly, I was talking to Shakras about this, and he told me something that I thought was very cool, which is that when itemizing on champions, right, you often have to think about what is the enemy itemizing, what does the enemy comp look like, all this other stuff. Something he introduced me to was amplification effects. And so let's say Rogue was building a lot of magic resistance, right? Typically, as a mid laner, you'd want to build Void Stand. Yep. But for a champion like Karma, that might not actually make much sense because getting more AP actually amplifies your shield more. And so sometimes it makes more sense because you're building more for the team because you're giving everyone more shields because the ultimate flat AP value is much more valuable. So I just thought that was a really interesting tidbit, and it's a cool way to think about itemization where sometimes it's not always about building to deal as much damage as possible because you have these, and like Vlad is another good example of like sometimes building health because it also gives you AP is more valuable to you. So.
Or building Ardent Sensor. We've seen Vladimir doing that recently as well. Hook lands here in the bottom lane. Rekkles is gobbled up by Hylissang. We'll get back to safety. Interestingly, that Hylissang's actually hit level 2 first in this lane. Rekkles must have just been out of range for one of the minions, so he'll be able to catch back up on this. Now, there's a huge wave pushing in, and I want to see how many of these Rekkles gets, because if he doesn't manage to sweep up most of them, he will be quite far behind in CS, and it's quite hard early on to get all of this CS, but he's done a pretty good job. So he's going to be about 4 or 5, 6 behind as the wave pushes in.
Somewhat as you'd expect when playing into this matchup. Tahm, Kench, Aphelios, not always the strongest 2 versus 2, especially when playing against the Kalista Thresh. Inspired is up on the top side of the map right now. They're looking for a dive onto Bwipo.
There's a ward here that will spot him out. Teleport comes in very early though. There's a counter TP. Okay, Rogue say we don't want any more of this, but Selfmade's coming in from the side as he looks to catch onto Finn, jumps in with a Thundering Roar, gets the stun, but Finn flashes the wall and escapes.
Now remember, we talked about Rogue wanting to play early game. Nemesis now caught out.
Nemesis actually just goes way too far forward, and the flash in from Inspired on his signature champion. He gets first blood and he's looking for second. He's caught underneath the tower though and he's going to fall. Larssen gets a blue buff from that, and the teleport comes in from Finn. Okay, Bwipo has the wave. Yeah. Bwipo has the wave, and there's going to be no more action in the top lane.
Well, I think this only benefits Rogue. Not only did they get themselves 2 early kills, but again, the nature of their comp, they want to go for these early skirmishes. They want to go for these early fights. And I respect that Fnatic tried to go for that pick onto Finn, but Nemesis was then just caught out of position. Rogue were able to punish him. They found that quick kill, and now Larssen sitting with a blue buff, 1-0-1 on this Ryze, along with the Hylissang and Vander duo consistently pushing in bot. This early game already looking fantastic for Rogue.
Rogue were able to get the teleports as well out of Nemesis, which is so impactful here, meaning that Larssen hadn't burnt his teleport for naught, and Nemesis would have the TP advantage. Inspired here, getting the Scuttlecrab down towards the bottom side, but we're going to have another look at this play.
So the response TP immediately comes out from Nemesis to dissuade the dive, and I think at this point, Rogue is thinking, okay, fine, we just got to get away, not a problem, but then the commitment comes in from Selfmade. Not a problem, I like this, but then the pathing from Nemesis is where I bring into question. You're walking into the direction of Inspired and Larssen, you know they're in the vicinity of the river, yet you close the gap for them, and you make it easy. Now, this is a great response from Bwipo as he gets a good knock up there to be able to trade at least 1-for-1, but Larssen gets the blue buff, as we said, he gets the kill, and I feel like that whenever you give a player like Larssen an early lead, he can just run away with a game, Medic. I feel like he has had a fantastic split so far. He was a very strong performing mid laner last split, and on this Ryze, already getting this early kill. I wouldn't be surprised the moment he gets level 6 to start roaming. That bot lane dive that we talked about with the level 6 from the Gangplank, with the level 6 from the Ryze. I expect to see these plays coming out from Rogue in the near future.
And Larssen is like one of those mid laners that kind of goes under the radar a little bit. Now he's starting at this roam that you just mentioned, Vedius, so he's looking down towards this bottom side. He has the Realm Warp, and we'll just try and steal away some of these Razor Beaks. Shouldn't be able to get the big one, so Selfmade will be okay with that. But as you say, he kind of goes under the radar a little bit. Last year we were talking about, you know, Forbidden or Perks in the mid lane. These guys,
last season, rather.
Yeah, last season, sorry. We're talking about Forbidden or Perks in the mid lane who are having really good splits, but Larssen always does a very strong job, but his team is consistent as the fight goes on in the top lane, and Finn's dead, I believe, as Bwipo just knocks him up with the Ornn. Yes. Larssen is roaming. We'll see if he can Realm Warp in. If Bwipo stays too long, Larssen can get in there. Bwipo has got flash. Larssen's going to look to try and join this fight. He's got a flash of his own. Bwipo's going to try and get away. Remember, he's got the Bellows Breath. Dodging around as much as he can, goes in. Alcove Gaming.
Go.
Oh, which way is he going to go? Which way is he going to go?
No way is he just going to back.
Oh, no, he sees it. There's the Bellows Breath as Larssen looks for the kill, and Bwipo shouldn't be able to escape, but he's going to run away, and Larssen in the end gets the kill, and that was... I probably got a little bit overexcited.
You see an alcove, you burst into song. Who can stop you, Medic? In any case, it will mean a 1-for-1 trade. Bwipo with a big solo kill onto Finn. I think a large part of that was because Finn did not have his flash, couldn't get out of that situation, and Bwipo immediately took advantage of it. Fnatic now going to trade that for a kill in the bot side, or a kill, blue buff in the bot side of the map, giving a little bit more freedom for Rekkles and Hylissang, which they have desperately needed after receiving constant pressure and an onslaught in this 2 versus 2. And Larssen will look to take a couple plates up in the top lane.
He's going to be about 1,000 gold ahead of Nemesis right now on this Ryze. in a very strong position. Selfmade is looking for a dive in the bottom lane. Now, Rekkles did fall behind a little bit early on, but Vander in such a good position here. Just puts the lantern down, and Selfmade can't get close enough. He's going to try and get in with a Thundering Smash, but Rekkles tanking up the turret there was not what they intended.
Now, so I saw observers. If you could just pan down to the ward in the lane. Wait, we don't have time.
Hylissang's going to get hooked. Hylissang still had flash here. Pops the exhaust down on Hylissang. Stormbringer's going to come in, and Selfmade tries to stop the turret from doing any damage. Hylissang's going to flash away, and now the turret's doing damage again, and it's Selfmade who's tanking it up. Hylissang gobbles up Rekkles to spit him out. Nemesis is coming across as well, and the rest of Rogue are unable to answer. Vander going to try and do what he can underneath the turret here to survive. Hylissang dies! Hylissang dies! Oh, what are you doing, Rekkles? Rekkles almost dies! The minion doesn't go! What was that? Great stuff from Vander, but incredibly bad from Fnatic.
I was just about to praise Fnatic for what was a flawless tower dive.
Head in his hands!
Yeah,
Head
because
in his hands.
that's going to be so frustrating. The tower completely screwed this up for Fnatic, and now Rogue find themselves with 5 kills. They're going to get themselves the Rift Herald as well. This was supposed to put this Hylissang Vander duo behind, and instead it's just gotten them even further ahead. Rogue now just, with such a strong early game. Let's have a look back at this dive. And this is what Volibear can be very potent at in the early game, setting up these dives. Tahm Kench being able to reset the tower aggro, also very powerful. Hylissang gets himself the cannon minion, but this is where Rekkles initially takes 2 tower hits. Takes the initial tower aggro. Hylissang and Vander feel that they can go back because Rekkles doesn't have a wave. Hylissang is now standing here, over-aggressive, but Selfmade is hovering the distance. Rekkles pushes in the wave in and like, okay, Rogue has messed up. The tower isn't hitting, but then it immediately comes off cooldown. Meanwhile, Selfmade's doing a good job of holding tower aggro. Great play there from Vander to try and keep Rekkles away, but it is not enough. Now let's see exactly what happens to the tower aggro here. Let's keep watching Hylissang.
Takes it with the tongue
Oh, he hits him with the Q, takes that initial tower aggro, and then, it's the chakrams that then take it for Rekkles.
Oh my god.
And then the minion.
Wait, did Nemesis not have a shield or anything during this time?
I wasn't tracking that.
Yeah, nor was I, but it just feels like a really long time.
I think he may have given it to Hylissang initially. I'd be very surprised if he didn't use his shield.
I would love to see a more in-depth breakdown of that play from sort of a replay perspective.
For sure.
Exactly the mistakes, because it was misplayed from Fnatic. You can see what they were trying to do, as you said. But,
I mean, ultimately, it was just greedy from Hylissang to try and go for that extra kill, landing that initial Q. Like, I think they got the initial kill. They were happy with the fact that Hylissang was dead. They should have just reset and spent their gold.
Yeah.
And by going for that additional kill, it ultimately cost them.
Well, it definitely did. You can see Vander on his way to a redemption on that. Thresh has the Swifties. The only good thing for Fnatic is the gold did not go over to Hylissang himself. However...
So I just got notification from producers that the shield from Karma was on a 0.2 second.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
0.2.
Maybe he used it to get down towards the bottom lane for the fight.
Yeah.
So anyway, gold lead for Rogue early on here, 2,000 gold ahead. As Inspired is looking to take their second dragon of the game. Larssen is miles ahead in the mid lane, 1,400, as Vander's going to hit another hook onto Hylissang, who does still have flash, so it's just going to be a bit of chip damage onto the bottom lane. And as Selfmade comes down, I do want to remind you guys of something we have been mentioning just a little bit. We keep talking about how Rogue have had an easy start to the split, how their first 4 games are relatively easy and they started losing when they played up against the higher level teams. You know, they lost against G2 last week, but here they are looking so good against Fnatic early on. And you can see another hook lands on Hylissang. He's just dead before I can even bring down the graphic. Teleport's going to come in from Nemesis, but they really can't get anything out of this.
They just lose even more. The instant Nemesis TP is going to give Larssen even more gold. You can see the observers even highlighting it twice. That's how big of a deal it is. For Larssen to get this, he's already so far ahead. The fact that the Archangel staff is already completed. He completed that at 10.5 minutes. Medic. Like, that is so early. Like, Ryze is giga-fed. The bot lane is now really strong. Like, it was so important for this bot, or for this comp from Rogue to get ahead early. And so far, they've done a fantastic job of it. It's been a combination of good successes from Rogue, but also some big blunders from Fnatic that Rogue have just been picking up over and over again.
And this is the sort of performance you want to see from a team if you expect them to end up near the top of the table.
Well, not if you're a Fnatic fan.
Oh, no,
right now, they're like...
From Rogue.
I mean, I agree with you, right? But like,
are they the real deal was the question we asked.
But also, as a Fnatic squad that's looking to compete at the top of the table, this is not the performance we want to see. As Larssen is now roaming.
You talked about his roam potential with that round walk. Call of the Portugal's going to come out, but he's rooted in place and can't knock it back. And now Larssen will happily lap up that kill. Ripped is used in the bottom lane as well by Inspired. Looked like Hylissang was actually going to back away.
I think he just had to drop it because they were running
like he was running out of time.
And he couldn't really use it anywhere else, it seems, because the way in which his jungle path took him, again, without all the context, didn't get to fully see why that happened. But Larssen gets himself another kill, 3-0-1 right now.
Vander's going to stand back here, has the Lantern if they need it. They'll look to at least get a charge out of this. You can see Inspired joining up with Hylissang, but Rekkles has a lot of damage and can try and auto-attack that eye. Larssen going to get his 5th plate of the game, I believe, and there's the charge going in. It connects. And so Rogue will at least cut down on some of those plates in the bottom lane. They have a 4,000 gold lead 30 minutes in Vedius. They have 2 dragons with 3 minutes on the 3rd dragon left. They're in such a strong position.
So, TPs are now up. The thing that I wanted to mention before that whole dive happened before was that Rogue had a deep ward in the lane, but neither TP was up for Larssen and Finn, which is why the idea of the dive was very good, because there was no real way for Rogue to respond. Of course, the execution fell apart there for Fnatic, but I think that this is something that we'll see more from Rogue, given that they have a comp that's very mobile on the map, and by having that double teleport, by having the Gangplank ultimate up soon, Rogue is in a position where they can just keep forcing these fights. You want to remember that Fnatic's comp, its biggest strength is Rekkles. It's all about providing a composition to allow Rekkles to thrive. They want to funnel as much gold as possible, which is why things like Rift Herald are important, which is why making sure that you don't concede too many early drakes is also important. And they ideally wanted to keep this early game as neutral as possible, but Rogue has constantly found these advantages, and it's even harder to keep things neutral when Larssen gets to roam as much as he wants.
Hylissang missed that wall.
He did.
And I mean, he can come back and sweep it out later on, but that, as you said, the teleports can be very important if you get behind the Rekkles.
You do make a good point. I think what's clever about it is it just gives you that additional bit of vision. But this bot tower is now likely going to drop as well. So in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not going to hurt them that much. But this gives Rogue a little bit more control around the bot side of the map, and the Drake is spawning in about a minute's time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the vision being cleared out in the river and in the pit, a reset coming through from Rogue, restocking their vision, and holy moly, that Ryze has 2,500 gold over Nemesis.
Yeah, he's in a pretty strong position here. And even the lane that Fnatic wanted to be ahead is about 1,000 gold behind right now. The Aphelios.
Hylissang has got on all the plates, right?
Yeah, he's so strong. He's so strong. Rogue have this composition that you said in pick and ban is really strong in the early mid game. Like they're so powerful right now. The Rod of Ages is stacking up Vedius.
Fully stacked Seraph. Like if I'm looking at this, I'm like, I never want to fight. Well, Bwipo doesn't have a choice.
Bwipo doesn't really have a choice. As you say, he's going to look to try and get away. Call of Portugal comes out. There's the play. There's the hook, and he can't send the ram back. Here comes Larssen, realm warping himself out as Selfmade looks for the damage, but the Lantern is there in time. Bwipo able to survive.
Yeah, good timing there from Selfmade. Able to keep his top laner safe. Does, of course, cost the flash from Bwipo.
It wasn't the realm warp, but the Stormbringer from the Volibear looks kind of like the realm warp.
I see.
I was like, how did he realm warp in and then realm warp out? And I was slightly confused.
He took the Lantern out, but he realm warped in.
Yeah.
You got it, Medic. You're good. You haven't cast that much Volibear yet. It's cool, man. It's cool. You'll get used to it. Now, the Dragon's spawning in about 7 seconds. Volibear ultimate, not available. Neither is Bwipo's, neither is Finn's, neither is Larssen's. Larssen's one doesn't matter that much, but we'll see how this fight plays out. It looks like that with Ryze in the top, Rogue might not contest, and given that they've just reset, they're not in a great position. So you could argue that this was a bit of a mistake from Rogue, because I think that they really want to be contesting these Drakes, because again, I do think that their comp is very powerful in the early to mid game, and by playing for that 4 Drake win condition, you just, you force your opposition to fight you earlier, but now they're playing for mid control, and with the Rift Herald, they should be able to secure this tower.
I also really like Vander's itemization choice. I was wondering if he'd go Redemption on this Thresh. Instead, he's gone Shurelia's, and you talked about the mobility already available for Rogue. Well, Shurelia's gives you even more of that. The chase potential for an Olaf, the chase potential for a Ryze. and the ability for that Kalista to keep jumping throughout the fight is just so powerful. In terms of items, Blade of the Ruin King complete on Hansama, Infinity Edge complete on Rekkles, both the AD carries sitting at about 1.5 items. However, the massive discrepancy comes in the mid lane. Rod of Ages and Seraphs already complete on Larssen, and he's got himself a Blasting Wand and Amplifying Tome as well. I wonder if he'll go Void Stop here, because there is quite a lot of magic resist on Bwipo, and he seems to be matching into Bwipo quite a lot.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Medic. I think that would be the primary reason. If he's expected to play against Bwipo more often, then he will want that early magic penetration. But we'll have to wait and see. He's only got some components for now. It is just, like, very rarely do you ever see pro players this far ahead. He has 217 CS in 17 minutes. And earlier in the game, we talked about how Larssen was a player that if you give him just a little bit, he can carry. But what was so impressive about him last split was when Rogue threw games, he would single-handedly save the game for them. There was that really cool Kiana play that he made against Febiven, and then he stopped the Baron. There was that time with Larssen and Finn against around another Baron again, where he 2v4'd them. Like, Larssen is such an insane mid laner that has done so much for this team, and now the team's leveled up. He's only gone better as Rogue find themselves another pick.
Yeah, Cannon Barrage comes down, Moonlight Vigil is going to be used as well. Hylissang with the thick skin trying to survive, but you cannot get through all of the damage from Rogue. Rekkles puts around himself the hula hoop of death, but there is no one close enough to kill as Rogue get their 8th kill of the game. Hylissang gets his 3rd death of the game, and Larssen continues to split push. Yeah,
level 14 now, 18 minutes into the game. He has a 2-level advantage over literally everyone on Fnatic.
Every time
and everyone on Rogue.
Whoa, what was that realm warp?
Oh, it might be for Vision, actually.
No, I think it was a mistake. So, you know how you were praising Larssen? You said every now and again he clawed back victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah.
All that was in my head right then was his corky packaging.
Yeah, I mean, you also had his blunders, but the difference was that was last year.
Yes,
and then
true.
Earlier this year is when I think we really saw like leveled up, slightly more evolved Larssen, right? And the big criticism for Rogue last split was that it felt like that they didn't really showcase much progression. We often saw the same type of Rogue, and I was someone that often called them an Origin Light. They often played team... Let's have a look.
He doesn't even go back into it! Total waste.
Thank you, observers, for highlighting that. So I have this habit ingrained in me where I always give the pro players the benefit of the doubt, and then sometimes just
I think it's wise sometimes, but that's the sort of play I think we could just say, nah, that was a mistake.
And I think the thumbs up confirmed it as well, so thank you for that, Larssen. So yeah, and I think that one of the big criticisms that Rogue did experience last split was that they didn't really showcase much progression. And I think that this is where we have to look at this game in particular, where they really have just dominated the early game. They've drafted a very early game focused comp. And when you look at Hansama, you might not be that surprised, because Hansama is a player that he could only play early game comps. But it feels like that we're starting to see more of that evolution of Larssen and Finn playing more of those like tank scaling type of champions, whereas Hansama wanting to get that early game, and we're hopefully getting to see more and more of this early game proactive play. And now the game has slowed down a little bit because there's no objectives to play for, all the outer towers are down, Rogue has the gold advantage, but they can't really push into the tier 2s, Fnatic just want to stall and scale, and this is kind of why I criticize Rogue a little bit for the last streak that they did lose, which is because right now they could be threatening that 4th, and that's where you force Fnatic into that fight that they obviously don't want to be in, right? But very likely they're just going to play towards this next Drake. They're going to maintain control over it. And then if they want to, they can start looking and threatening a Baron too.
We are past that 20-minute mark, so the Baron has spawned. It's a 7,000 gold lead for Rogue. And we have talked a lot about how Rogue will play out the next little bit. I want to look at it from the side of Fnatic, because you do have Rekkles a little bit too far pushed up here. The hook's going to land onto Hylissang. I'm not sure that was the target. Rekkles got up by Hylissang now. He's going to get spat out, but already they're just both dead in the mid lane. Rogue didn't even need the Dragon. They get the kills, and now they're going to turn their eyes towards a Baron.
Wow. I was looking at my other screen.
Oh, Bwipo. Bwipo. That was a great realm warp into the blast cone, and Bwipo really doesn't have anywhere to go. Larssen, with the void stuff, will just melt through him alongside Hansama, and Rogue have just upped the tempo. 3 quick kills for them, and they're going to try and take this Baron away from Fnatic.
That was such a good hook from Vander. He just landed onto Hylissang, and then Hylissang was kind of like, what do I do right now? If I gobble you up, we're both dead. But that's what he did anyway. And then Bwipo just gets caught out, and like Fnatic, I feel, are just, they're constantly getting punished for these very small mistakes, and Rogue are very quick to take advantage of that. Now we see the Dragon being contested by Rogue.
Larssen looking to steal it, and he gets it! What can this man not do this game? He gets the kill afterwards. 3rd Dragon of the game for Rogue. And they get the Baron to boot. This is a shellacking now, Vedius. 11,000 gold lead, and I was about to lead us into a hey, how did Fnatic come back into it? But I don't think that question stands anymore.
So I had a really quick look at how much damage. Oh,
you can't. There's the fight. Vander getting forced off. Rekkles actually is a really good flank position here, but Larssen locks him up. The Moonlight Vigil does give Rekkles quite a big shield as he pushes forward. Vander goes back in with a stopwatch, and here comes Summer across the wall, looking to kill the Aphelios, but can't quite get him down. Hylissang chased off here by Finn and Larssen. Larssen's going to get that kill, and now here goes Inspire, flashing forward. It's all on Rekkles. He's got to do something, but the Shurikens are just not enough. Summer goes unstoppable. 5-1-3, 5-0-3 for Larssen, 14 kills to 4 for Rogue, a 12,000 gold lead, a Baron, and they're looking at the inhibitors.
Rogue, 22 minutes into the game, already looking to end it. Fnatic have crumbled. Rogue looking to join Mad Lions at the top of the LEC. They will secure that inhibitor, but they're not going to end the game right now. Rogue looking flawless. As GP will just look to go back to base. Wow, crazy stuff. We've had a crazy couple of minutes, and my fun fact for the fight that just happened, that Dragon Smite, hang on, let's see if we actually get the replay here. So, we're going to get the team fight. I'll come back to my fun fact later. In this situation, Fnatic is saying, I think this is a good opportunity for us to catch Rogue off guard. There's only 3 people bot, and their AD carry isn't here, so let's just go for it. Look at how much stalling Larssen does. Big boost of movement speed, disengage. Vander lands a hook and then goes in. But he's just buying time, waiting for Summer and Inspired to arrive. A good stopwatch then sets up Hylissang to be overextended. Rekkles has built up a lot of chakrams, but do Rogue learn their lesson? No. The last time they played against this, they got crushed by Schalke, but this time they were like, no, we're way too strong. We're just going to dive in. And there was no way that Rekkles could get out of that situation. You can see that Rekkles did everything that he could to keep the team going, but unfortunately it was not enough. Larssen, now level 16, has been dominating these team fights.
So powerful. The Ryze, when you get towards these 3 items, as we said, he's already stacked up that full Rod of Ages. He's got the Void Staff, he's got the Seraphs. You're having a little chuckle to yourself,
Yeah, I was giggling to myself because I look back at that dragon that Larssen stole, and he did more damage than the smite. So that Selfmade could even smite it away from him. Oh.
Jungle death.
Oh yeah, look, we get the pip. Look, he one-shots, he does 900 damage to it. He does 900 damage, and the smite is only 680. Anyway, I just thought that was very funny.
Mid lane's overpowered, obviously.
I mean, I just think that, like, I think Larsen's overpowered, bro.
He is right now. Look at him, just split pushing by himself. Super minions pushing in the bot lane, and Fnatic have a long way to go if they're ever going to get back into this game. I will mention Rekkles has 2 items complete. He's got the Infinity +1 Edge and the Runan's Hurricane upgraded. You've got the Ardent Sensor and the Athenes on Nemesis, so there are buffs for this Aphelios, but he's just unable to survive through a fight.
I mean, like, you can't compare against this Ryze itemization, and Summer is also just so powerful. Gangplank with the Trini Force plus S3 for 2, it's just... You're right, the itemization is there, but relatively speaking, it just
so
isn't.
far behind.
Yeah. And so Fnatic need to stall this game out for so much longer. If they can get Rekkles to like level 15, then maybe, but...
I know we've talked a lot about Larssen's Ryze. I do want to say, he just hit 300 CS before 25 minutes in the game.
Wow.
And that's with some, like, the rest of his team's farming well as well. It's not like he's been funneled. The rest of his team is ahead on CS.
He has taken quite a lot of farm from Finn, I will say that, but you are correct.
Even Finn has only 10 less than his lane opponent, right? Like, it's just, it's been a sight to behold. And as someone who's watched Larssen since he was in the UK scene, it's great to see him starting to really pop off in the LEC. Summer, Finn also joined him at the top of the gold chart. And Rogue now say, well, you're going to fight us for this Cloud Soul? It's not the biggest soul in the world. You know, the extra movement speed after ults is still really impactful, but we'll see if Fnatic decide that they want a fray in the river, or if they're just going to keep on with their pushing out the side lanes for the Aphelios.
I know, obviously, we still have another set of games tomorrow.
Yeah, hit me up.
But how crazy is it that Fnatic and G2 could be 3-3?
I know, right? I said this. It's the first time in like 4 years it's ever happened.
Yep. It's absolutely crazy. LEC is very spicy right now. Rogue looking to join Mad Lions at the top of the table, 5-1. We're going to get a fight around the Drake. Here we go.
Selfmade going in. Summer pushing up towards the top side of this. Finn is not yet with the team. The Fate's Call is going to bring back Vander as Rogue reset, but the Super Minions are pushing in. You can see the double TP is going to get into the fight here as Rogue just look for the back door. They don't really care about the Dragon because they're looking for the Nexus. They're looking for the win. And they say to Fnatic, how could you ever doubt us? How could anyone ever think that we wouldn't be topping the table after this game? Rogue are coming, Rogue are destructive, and Fnatic can do nothing about it. Rekkles and Hylissang are here, but I don't think they win this. Larssen goes gold, and Finn on the Nexus trying to get the fight out. The Realmward's going to get Larssen out, but the shutdown comes down. Finn, though, oh, I thought Rogue were going to do it. I thought they had the back door. I'm not sure he can do this in the 1v2. Finn will fall as he flashes away. Selfmade gets the chase off.
They're trying to give the kill to Rekkles as well.
They're trying to donate it. There's the moonshot, there's the kill. The dragon did go down to Rogue. I got very excited.
Yeah, I thought the game was done and dusted right there, but good utilization of the Tahm Kench ultimate. Bwipo was able to go back to base as well. He kept his TP while Nemesis did lose it. Rogue secured the Cloud Soul, but Fnatic, he had a pretty big fight there as Rekkles now got a lot of gold into his back pocket. Can we after the replay, look at the amount of gold that Rekkles is sitting on, because let's have a look at this play. Rogue immediately commit, they recognize, hey, we can just go for the TP backdoor. Larssen is positioning for it, same for Finn, and they're just waiting for Fnatic to overextend. But I think Fnatic read the play too. Look at the positioning of Bwipo and Nemesis. They immediately go to the backline. Selfmade is trying to stall. They know that Inspired can't interrupt it. And while Larssen and Finn do have a lot of damage, and you can see how quickly they're able to melt Nemesis, the fact that this is a 2 versus 2 actually just buys a lot of time. And again, if we kind of pan back over, thank you very much, observers, you'll notice that Hylissang is just trying to gobble Rekkles up so that they can use the ultimate to get back into the fray and then turn this fight in the favor of Fnatic. So they stay in the game for a little while longer. Rekkles does get a lot of gold off the back of this play, and as you can see in your picture-in-picture, right now, Rogue is starting off the Baron.
Yeah, Fnatic aren't going to answer this. Their inhibitor in the bottom lane just answered, but you can see Rekkles, 14,000 gold on that Aphelios now. He is a very beefy boy. As Rogue do pick up the Baron. They are still miles ahead. It's still a 13,000 gold lead. Remember
what I said earlier, if Rekkles gets to level 15, I wasn't expecting him to get some shutdowns, then Fnatic actually have a chance, right? And we can see the Ornn sensor is also done for Nemesis. It doesn't matter how strong he is, he can just keep... Oh, he's got the death cap. He sold his boots.
Who needs boots
to get death cap and then upgraded as well. Wow. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because your whole goal is just Rekkles. So, let's see. Rekkles, this is your time. The last stand against an empowered Rogue right now looking to end the game.
Last week he was on Soraka and the fans called for him to be back on a carry, but Larsen's looking for the back door. The Realm Warp, he doesn't take it. The inhibitor tower in the mid lane will be taken by Rogue. And Rekkles, oh, he's stepping forward. He wants a bit of this. He wants a bit of the action. The shield is huge. He's got Death's Dance now as well, Vedius, and an Executioner's calling. But Rogue have open inhibitors to chip away at. Finn down towards the bottom side will force Rekkles away. Hylissang looking to step forward, but the Lantern will get Hound Summer to safety. The Infernum, a flamethrower for the ages here from Rekkles, but Rogue continue unabated on their advance. However, they have only got one inhibitor down. That top lane inhibitor will respawn in about 2 minutes' time. Rogue will be looking to get another one so that they can try and get those super minions pushing in multiple waves. Phantom Dancer complete.
Yeah, I mean, Rekkles is super strong. He's looking for the ult.
Oh, he missed it.
Yep, he did. And that's going to be crucial. Nemesis forced to flash as well as Finn is pressuring the bot lane.
See, this becomes the problem because if Finn is strong enough to beat out Nemesis, then Rekkles has to be in too many places at once. Selfmade is trying to hold the top wave. That inhibitor in the mid lane is only just about surviving. Inspired to come in from the side and just blow on it, take it down. It's going to fall as Hound Summer looks for the final order attack, but can't quite land it. But we're going in with the Call of the Forge God, and this is the fight. This is the moment for Fnatic. They try and get onto Inspired, but Rekkles just isn't in the range to do the damage. He can't get near anyone. He's being forced back, and now he has to defend his Nexus. 3 inhibitors down. Rogue advancing unabated, advancing on stop. They're looking for the win here as Nemesis gets chunked out. Finn almost down as well, but Rekkles, he's isolated from the entire fight. Look at Rekkles, he can't get there. There's no way he can get towards his front line, and Inspired takes the double. And Rogue send a clear message to anyone who doubted their pedigree, anyone who doubted they belong in the top spot as they destroy Fnatic.